If you are a fan of Johnny Carson, Jim Carrey, Marvel Comics, all of the above, then we've got you covered with the best new shows and movies to stream this weekend. Here to break down the weekend binge is Mickey O'Connor, editor-in-chief of TV Guide. Thanks for coming by.
What's up?
Thanks for having me.
So look, we got to start with. I'm glad we're starting with this new documentary because I'm sort of pumped about it. It's it's a Jim Carrey documentary. It's about the movie that he made about Andy Kaufman called Man on the Moon, which was a great movie.
Right.
But it's about
Oscar
the making of it.
Milos Forman, like it was a huge thing. Yeah.
Okay, so this is about the making of it. This is behind the scenes. Let's watch a little bit of it.
Andy felt it was necessary to stay in the character.
He's exactly the way Andy was.
It's totally surreal. And this crazy melodrama started happening all over the place.
Jimmy said they came down hard.
Who's they? Universal didn't want the footage we took behind the scenes to surface so that people wouldn't think I was.
Andy, you have to give me a chance to make a movie.
I don't need to make a movie. I don't need to make a movie.
I was thinking, how far should I take this?
Quiet, please. Sound check. Sound check. It's working.
How far would Andy take it?
Yeah.
So he's doing this method acting thing where he's, you know, trying to live as Andy Kaufman, but he never takes that character off.
Right. And so, like, we had all heard the stories around the time this movie was being shot that, like, he made everyone call him Andy on set and that he never, you know, broke character. But this is like something else, and this is like, you know, him saying like this is what Andy Kaufman would do if he was in the situation, because of course he was known for outrageous, outlandish behavior in public situations. But you know, it's like it sort of skims the line between like, is he just being like a super method actor, or is he like losing his mind on the set? And the fact that he participates in this is pretty fascinating because he really is a little bit self-aware about it and like takes a look back and says like, this is what was going on at the time.
You know, I'm always on the fence about method actors and their craft. There was that famous story that's been told in Hollywood where Dustin Hoffman is talking to Sir Laurence Olivier and he says, you know, how do I play this role, and how do I get into the mind of this character that I have to play? And Olivier says, acting, dear boy. You know, and I just think that that's like, I respect the craft of the method actors, but we'll see how this, you know, looks to people who are not in on it with you when you're trying to be this other person.
I think it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it reminds me of like, you know, Larry David, like cringe comedy. It's like you're watching it and you're kind of like, is this really happening? But it's also like so crazy that you just like keep watching and watching.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Netflix and the new Marvel release based on The Punisher, the character that's obviously famous in the comics, but also the very same character that has been in the other Defender characters, specifically Daredevil. It's coming out. Let's take a look, and we'll talk about it.
It's part of a covert CIA operation. The man in charge wants to meet that. Homeland. The FBI. Everybody's part of this.
You and me, we want the same thing. So work with me.
One condition. I'm gonna kill them all.
Yeah, I can live with that.
So, Mickey, these Marvel characters on Netflix have been sort of hit and miss. Everybody really loved Jessica Jones. I love Daredevil. Luke Cage and Iron Fist, especially, were not very well received. Luke Cage was, I think people liked it. I liked it. Yeah, it was mixed.
I liked it.
But certainly Iron Fist got a lot of like thumbs down. This one is extremely violent. The character is extremely violent. I also wonder, in the environment that we're living in right now, if people want to see a vigilante with these weapons going after people, taking the law into his own hands.
It's a fair question. Like right now is probably not the best time to launch, you know, a character who's known for gun violence. But that said, I think that the show does a pretty good job of you know, talking about the effects of that. You know, he does suffer from PTSD from his time serving in Afghanistan in this iteration. And, you know, they talk a lot about like why he turns to violence instead of, you know, sort of other methods of problem, you know, resolution. But, you know, that said, I think it's a lot of shoot 'em up, bang bang. I think that that's kind of what the Punisher is. So, you know, I think that people who, you know, follow the characters who like that kind of show, they'll love it. You know, but I think it's a really good question. They actually, you know, sort of delayed the premiere a little bit because of its coincidence with
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Yeah. So,
interesting. Okay, so then we have another one, a Hulu series. It's called There's Johnny, because it's about Johnny Carson.
Hey-o.
Right?
That's right.
Let us take a listen.
Okay.
Who's this? New courtship?
No, he's just helping out.
Carry on.
Fred DeCordova, executive producer. Writers, they're animals.
I take this to Mr. Carson's house?
If you lose this, America has no jokes tonight. Do you want America to have no jokes tonight?
These guys are gonna be all over you.
Clavin!
You're coming with us!
Parts of this experience are making me uncomfortable!
This is Joy. I have to give Johnny an idea of what to ask you.
You work at The Tonight Show. What do you do there, exactly?
I don't know, actually.
This looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
This looks great.
Yeah. So this is a show that was actually created for CISO, the sort of NBC's comedy streaming platform that shut down. And so after it shut down, Hulu acquired this show. You know, obviously it's about behind the scenes. It's The Tonight Show in the 70s. You know, there's some familiar faces. Jane Levy is an actress who was in that show Suburgatory. She plays a booker on the show. Tony Danza plays the executive producer, Freddie DeCordova, sorry. And yeah, and it was created by Paul Reiser, who had such success with Mad About You. Yeah, it's very nostalgic, and it's a lot about the fact that like it's kind of like when you watch The West Wing and it's about the president, but it's not really about the president.
Okay, so I was gonna say, is it like totally fictional, or is there nuggets of?
I think it's fictional, but I think that it's probably truth being stranger than fiction.
Right.
You know, like I think that there's probably a little truth in there, but this show is about all the people who work on the Tonight Show, and the character of Johnny Carson, he's in the show, but he's sort of mysterious, and he's sort of like holed away at his house in Malibu, and they have to bring stuff to him all the time and everything. So it's kind of interesting.
That's pretty cool.
I like this idea because now, you know, with social media, we see behind the scenes everything now, and this is an era that's still quite a mystery to us.
And I think that, you know, it'll be interesting to see how they talk about and sort of show what went on behind the scenes in some of the ways that
through
perhaps
a 2017 lens.
Exactly, through a 21st century, 2017, 2018 lens. Could be very different.
Yeah, absolutely.
As Mad Men showed us.
Right.
Mickey O'Connor, always good to have you. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.